Well, hello and welcome, friends, to another Tarot Chat with Jay. So pleased you all decided to join me. So today I wanted to talk about the big, bad, old Seven of Swords. So here we see the Seven of Swords in a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Now, this is another card that, much like the Three of Hearts, it's very easy to gloss and say, okay, I know what this means, let's just go on with the reading and not really, look into the card. And I think it has a great deal more to tell us about ourselves. So, traditionally, when a Seven of Swords will come up, people will say, oh, this is subterfuge, this is thievery, this is lying, someone's stealing your ideas, someone's stealing your stuff, your love partner is lying to you and seeing someone behind your back, that sort of fuckery. But I don't think it actually limits itself to that, because this is not Pentacles. Pentacles are the suit wherein we talk about our goods, our Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday daily lives, things that go on and things that we do and things that we have. This is swords. Swords are air, communication, and thought. So my reading of this card is this is someone who has taken on too much, taken on more than they thought they could, and in this position, they are unable to ask for the help that they need in a kind way. If they were to open up their mouths and say, give me help, it would be pointy and nasty and lashing. But I think this is someone who is feeling left out. They're feeling, I took on too much, I can't ask for help, and because of that, I feel a series of negative feelings. You might feel stuck, you might feel inequality, you might feel jealousy, you might feel regret, you might feel, why are other people having their way so easily and I'm sword burdened, I'm sword bound. So I think it brings up those questions and that kind of negativity of feelings. And if you don't work yourself through that, next comes the Eight of Swords, wherein you are truly tangled and self-burdened and in a place of difficulty. And if you really don't work it out, then that leads to the Nine of Swords, which is truly known as the Nightmare card. This is anxiety, this is head and hands, not being able to sleep, just nothing but this run of negative thoughts intruding on your headspace. This is all the space above this person's head, so it represents all of that. Air, thought, spirit, all of those sort of items that are represented by the sword. Now, another thing that I think is especially interesting that we see in Rider-Waite is that the Seven of Swords is one of the stage cards. Now, this is a card that Pamela Coleman Smith specifically drew with a line. There's a line, there's a scrim, it represents a stage. Now, in very many readings of that, traditionally the stage cards represent acts which happen in public, acts which happen that are seen, that have a spotlight, a limelight, something drawn to them. It's not a moon card where things are happening in the dark, in the depths, out of view. This is something that's sort of, it's being drawn attention to in a very loud way. And we also see that in our This Might Hurt. So here we are. First we talked about our Rider-Waite, and now we are talking about This Might Hurt. In this deck specifically, our Seven is in the snow. He's leaving footprints. He's not getting away with anything. This isn't secretive. This isn't something that no one knows about. This is, right on out there. This is something that really needs to be addressed. And here we have the Eight of Swords, which actually I think harkens back to the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is someone who is also blindfolded, also standing in the rain, also at a position, a crossroads, or where the tide's coming in. They're in water and in a position of immobility. But this eight magnifies, it's times four. So it's the two and the two and the two. It's like you're still in that cycle. You haven't really addressed those questions. That's what's still keeping you stuck. But I love this card because the swords create a barrier around this person. They hold the rain off. They hold those emotional deluge off. And they give you just a moment maybe to untie those knots or realize that that blindfold can come off. Those knots can be undone. You can stand up and choose a different path. Here's the nine, which is beautifully depicted. I think just the way they chose to draw these swords as knives. Each one is a little bit different. Each one is a niggling, nagging little thought that is keeping you up. It's a 3 a.m. card, and it's a beautiful run in this series. It's very interesting. I think also we see in the Everyday Tarot series, because this has such clean, clear graphics, we can see the directions of these swords. They are all pointing very clearly in one way. The swords are pointing down into the earth in the 7. Here in the 8, they're pointing down into the ground. In the 8, I think it sort of shows that the message is descending. It's self-reflection. You can also see the way these people look at each other. This person looks to the side. This person looks down with a blindfold. This person's head is in their hands. They're all self-directing, looking inward, taking a moment to really... The message isn't out there for others. The message is in there for you. Are you lying to yourself? What is it that you really need to hear? What is it that you're not listening to? What do you need to take the time to hear from Spirit through the mind, through the throat, to the heart, to the gut? It's that dissension, that descending, I believe, that I really see in this series. That's fabulous. And as always, I turn to Kat Wallstein's Tarot of Mystic Moments for a truly different take. One of the things that I really like about this tarot is that here's our 7 of Swords. There are no actual swords in these cards, but the message clearly comes through. 7 of Swords. She's a snake covered in flowers. She hovers over a basket of eggs. She clutches them in her hand. I think she's actually drank a few already. The frantic birds fly overhead. She has strength and power and a hidden agenda. The 8 of Swords is this beautiful winged creature in a cage. Once again, we're actually not seeing swords, but the cage, the lines, the cypress trees of death, sorrow, and sadness around this creature show they are not flying. They have not unburdened themselves at this time. And the 9 of Swords, once again, does not depict swords, depicts eyes as seeing, knowledge, that laser beam of light, that intellect, that message that opens you up at night and will not let you sleep. I actually think this relates a lot to the 3rd eye chakra, which takes place once we're talking again about that message coming down the chakras from spirit to the mind, to the mouth, to the throat, to the heart, to the solar plexus, to the gut, to the lower levels, and down as well. So that, I think, is a way of looking at this card, giving it a little more than previously maybe we've given it time for. I think it's powerful, I think it's pointy, I think it's poignant, and I wanted to thank you for joining me, for taking a moment to hear a little chat and a little conversation about a card that has a lot to say, I think. So thank you once again, friends, for joining me. Please comment, feel free to ask any questions, anything you agree with, disagree with. I'd love to hear from you. I'm honored and astounded to be speaking with you today. It's been Jay, and have a witching day, my friends. Thank you.